Okay, well today I thought we'd play with this Dino. It's a head splitting robot. The head splitting parts are laying back here. As you can see, it's straight from the mud fields. Some kid's backyard, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, it was sent to me by a friend of mine who wanted to see if I could fix it for him. I don't clean robots or do windows, so I fix them and send them back with all the dirt still intact. In this case, had multiple problems, and I'm not sure if they all came around from some kid grabbing the head and trying to yank it up out of the robot, or how it occurred. But there are two sets of linkages. There's a main one, which is this red piece that you're seeing here that runs all the ways down in there, that does the lifting of the head. And then there's a secondary one. If you see that little piece right there, it looks like in the throat. That's a second set of linkage which controls the mouth and this screecher. As it lifts up, it'll lift that against that gear and cause the screeching sound. Now, just like in all of the Rotomatics and everything else that have the stop-go action, there are the two sets of gears that climb up on a ramp. And as they climb up on the ramp, that causes an axle, in this case this one that's spring-loaded, to move. And when that moves, there'll be a gear on that shaft which switches from, in this case, engaging with this really big walking gear, going over and engaging with two gears over on this side. One of the gears over on this side has teeth that run out at a certain point. So it crawls up that gear till there's no more teeth, and it just sits there and chatters. And the two metal gears do wear out due to that chattering, but that's just the way it's designed. They did, it's a toy, they didn't care. But that's the one that causes the head to go up. So that gear can only rotate so far, the head only goes up so far. That's that. But then the second gear right next to it can continue to go round, round, and round. And it's got a little lobe on it as well. And that's the one that pushes on this linkage for the mouth to cause the mouth to open and close and the screeching to cycle. Those two gears that I just talked about are on this shaft, which has a slot, as you can see there. And it's spring-loaded. So if something jams up, the idea is that that spring will allow the shaft to move enough so things don't totally get broken, I guess. Oh, so in action, what we're talking about, I don't know if there's any way you're ever going to be able to see up in there. The only two gears in this whole thing are those two white gears that you see right there, that white way up in there. Those are the ramp gears, the ones that crawl and move, that cause this axle to move, which causes the stopping and the walking and all that kind of good stuff. I don't think a camera could ever look up inside there and show you the other two gears in action. But basically what's going to happen is right now, as you can see, it's walking. Now the gear is moved over. Watch the shaft. See where the shaft is? I'll keep my finger here. So it crawls up the ramp, moves over. And that's how it shifts gears in the gearbox to do different things. So, if you've ever wondered what was going on inside of a Dino, or any of the head splitters, that's basically what's going on. Now, this is a Japan-made version. I've shown a lot of them out in the hut. All the other versions that I've got, I mean, there's a whole row of them. But some of them will even incorporate a smoker, so when they open, smoke can come out of the mouth of the monster. Sometimes it's just called Mr. Monster, Monster Head, Dino Robot, a lot of different names, a lot of different body styles. A lot of times this light which is on in the head in here, in this case it's wired to be on all the time. A lot of the times they'll wire it where it only comes on when the head is up and the mouth is moving. And in fact it would have been very easy to do, because this little screecher that they have here is on a piece of isolated plastic. So if they simply brought one of the light wires over to this rivet and grounded the other side of the circuit to the frame, then the light would have only come on when the screecher was contacting the metal gear. So they could have, for virtually no money in this case, had a light control. But I think they decided it was simpler, probably for assembly reasons, to just solder the wires all together in one time. Now, as far as putting the thing together, it gets a little more complicated. I don't know if I can even do it. Here's the one half of the head shell. It's got a metal axle, and when you're putting it together, you've got these two little pins that you have to get into the right spot. Otherwise, things aren't going to work right. Isn't going to open and close right. Let's see how we can do here. I know there's no way I'm going to be able to watch the camera and do this. Here, we're getting there. Then we've got the body and the arms. The arms just fit in these slots. So you kind of have to hold all of this mess together while you're trying to line everything back up. The arms, those metal rods. That side, not quite sure it's not lined up over here. I guess the head post, huh? There we go. Okay, I think before we screw it together, we'll just try holding it together. Alright, it's a good walker. Now as far as holding together on the Japanese ones anyway, you have 3 screws, one on either shoulder and one down in the crotch. The only way you can get to them is with a screwdriver with the extended shaft because they're quite deep. Alright. So, got all of the jam parts unjammed back together. Got the 2 plastic gears that are the ramp walkers that cause the shaft to move back in the proper location on the axle. They'd slipped. Weren't engaging with both of the gears that caused the head opening and the mouth screeching. Got all that back together and even got the screws in. Now what's left to do is to find somebody to go after this little beauty with a washcloth and see if some of that mud can come off of it. But that won't be me.